Happy New Year, everybody. All right, so from a filming perspective, this is our first ever podcast being filmed in 2025. So, of course, we're going to talk about what's going on in 2025. Well, you'd think that our friends at the FTC would take some time off, enjoy some time with the family, you know, a good old holidays, have some Christmas cheer. No, they did not. There was some pretty big things going on. Actually, when we were starting, Greg was like, hey, they've been pretty active. Lots going on the last 2 weeks. I was like, really? And turns out there was actually something very big that we need to talk about that's very relevant to you SaaS companies, because I know a lot of SaaS companies think, FTC, SMTC, we don't have to worry about them. No, not true. States, state AGs, FTC, this new rule, like you need to, as a SaaS company, pay attention to it. Then also supplement companies. This is going to be very impactful for you. So we're going to talk about a few different things that happened in the last couple of weeks. Now, of course, hey, listen, book, get it. Like, come support the cause. I think we're close to 4,500 books sold now. The Academy's kicking ass and doing great. We got another challenge coming up soon. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be announcing it. It's going to be at the end of January. Literally, I land back from India and we're going to do this challenge again. And we have a lot going on this year. We're working on another book. We've got a program called Compliant Testimonial Systems coming out to help all of you come up with a great way of doing compliant testimonials. Just amazing stuff. So come on, come support the cause. Tell other people about it. Let's support ethical, moral, and compliant marketing. It's not an option. It's not a choice anymore. Every day, Greg and I are hearing about more and more different marketers that are coming under fire. That's all I'm going to say. All right? So with that said, Mr. Greg Christiansen, welcome back to the podcast. Happy New Year.
Happy.
Yeah. Last year was pretty incredible. We've built this community of thousands of people that are interested in taking the FTC seriously. We have 2,000 people officially in the Facebook group of the book buyers. Almost half the book buyers join our community. And then we have 4,500 or so unique book buying customers, and just cool, man. We have this newsletter we send out, and here's a topic that everyone told me wouldn't do well and nobody would care about, and yet here it is, and people do care, and it is doing well. So thanks to you and for all your commitment. For the record, everybody, none of us are making any money. Greg and I have not made a penny. We are in the negative, actually, and I do believe we will eventually make money, but I have a lot of people that are like, oh my God, you're making millions from this. You monetized your pain. And I'm like, I hope I will. And I think that would be awesome. And I do think the future will be when the community is big enough. But right now, this is a total work of passion. This is a work of, like, for Greg, it's 20 years. And for me, it's at least the last 2-3 years almost. And I just don't want anyone to go through what I went through. I mean, I am now, I jokingly call myself this, Greg. I don't know if you know this, but I call myself the FTC therapist, because that's what's happening. If someone gets hit, I'm a safe place to call, and I don't mind. You can call me, and I feel for you because I know what you're going to go through, and there's no way to avoid it. So, well, there is a way to avoid it, which is to listen to our stuff and read the book. So, Greg, December 23rd, something big happened that impacts not only marketers but SaaS companies and supplement companies. Take it away.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that have come down the last couple of weeks. So this is going to be kind of the State of the Union for 2025 of just what's happened the last 2 weeks since the last time we met. So what Onyx talking about is actually in October of last year, the FTC got serious about the click to cancel rule, which is, let me explain. So when you sign up for a subscription, a gym membership or whatever it is, whether it's an online supplement company that you're getting month-to-month supplements for, subscription-based access to software, or it's part of a training or coaching program where you're paying month-to-month to be a part of that. The FTC over the last few years has taken an interest in the difficulty it is to actually cancel those memberships or subscriptions. Not only do they always challenge that, and there are several cases where they have ROSCA claims, that's the Restore Online Sellers Confidence Act, but they want to make sure that the client that's signing up for the subscription understands what the cost is, what the terms are, and everything else, but they want to make it so that they can get out of it easier. So one of our earlier episodes, we talked about the Vonage case. It was in actually December of 2023. So just a little over a year ago right now. So this all applies to the ruling in October, which Vonage, the telephone company, got in trouble with the FTC because they we're making it very difficult for people to cancel their month-to-month subscriptions. So the FTC, looking at all these different cases, came for this, click to cancel rule, an easy mechanism in order to cancel these memberships and subscriptions. So the rule was announced in October 2024, and key elements started coming into effect as of December 23rd, 2024, just the last couple weeks. And so the full rule will take and complete effect by April of this year. I keep on wanting to say next year, but it's not. It's this year. And so we want to make sure that everything is in place by that, and you're aware of what that really requires. Because if you fail to do that, then you're going to run into some problems with it. So the rule has a couple of specific things. First and foremost, you cannot misrepresent any material fact as to the goods or services they're signing up for. So again, that sounds pretty broad statement, right? Hey, when you're advertising, make sure that your advertisements are truthful and that they create the right impression with the client when they're signing up for the subscription or access to your membership group or whatever the back end is they're paying month to month on continuities. Second, you have to clearly and conspicuously disclose the material terms prior to the consumer giving you their credit card or billing information. And what I mean by that, so that those two words, clearly and conspicuously, what does that mean? It has to be an approximate and predominant to the checkout. It means it has to be in the same font size, same area when they're checking out. I always advise clients to have a little checkbox that they understand that once the free trial period ends or once they sign up, they agree that they're going to get charged $29.95 every month until they cancel. So you need to make sure you have that. If you don't, then you're in absolute violation of ROSCA, which is that Restores Online Sellers Confidence Act I mentioned before. Now, once that's in place and you have that consent in place to charge them, this is the click to cancel. You have to make it so that they can cancel and it's easy. There are several websites that I look at for clients all the time. I'm like, how did your client get out of the subscription? I can't even find it. It'll say, see our website. I can't find it. And oh, you got to go here under this and in this area. And nobody would ever find that. So here's the main issue with this. Client signs up for a subscription. You need to have a subscription tab on your website for subscriptions or continuities. And they can click on that. And that's where they can automatically find the mechanism to cancel their subscriptions. Now, if you're not big enough or you don't have the resources with IT to have it so that as soon as they click cancel, it goes in and triggers and stops, at least you need to have that go into an email to your customer support, and then you need to make sure you process it and make sure that's canceled before the next subscription period starts. So if you don't have your terms and conditions, terms of service, whatever you call them, on your website updated and discusses that specific issue, like how do you cancel a subscription, then you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be in trouble. So here's the issue. Your terms of service, your terms and conditions need to have a section that talks about subscriptions and how to, when you can cancel subscriptions. So if it's a month to month and you say, hey, you need to cancel your next month's subscription at least 3 days or 5 days before the next billing cycle, that needs to be evident in that terms of service. And they have to see that at the time they check out. Plus, I would also put this link to cancel if they want to. If you fail to have this mechanism in place, it's an absolute violation. It's something that you're not going to be able to get out of. And so you'll want to make sure it's in there because it's not just the commission. The state of California has made this click to cancel rule as part of their California Consumer Protection Act. And if you fail to do it in California, the consumer can sue you for failing to do that opt-out. And if they do that, then you're fighting against a potential class action in California. So this is a good general principle. I like this rule because it's what I would want as a consumer. If I want to get out of it, I don't want to have to look through the poo to figure out how to cancel that subscription. I want it evident. And so it has to be someplace that's easy to find. People know where to go, and there has to be notification. And so that's the click to cancel rule. Something to
Okay.
Need to be
So
careful.
I agree with you, by the way. I definitely agree. And there's been a couple of services that are software, by the way, that I've wanted to cancel in the last month. And I mean, it was so hard to find a place to go. I had to eventually click on the help, look look for it, like see the screenshots, and then go. I mean, like this should not be that hard. Go to account, subscription, cancel. Like that, it would make sense. And so that is, again, something I agree with them on. There's been actually multiple rulings or multiple things that the FTC has said over the last few months where I'm like, yeah, I agree, and that's kind of scary. But what else is going on? So they're active. There's some other things. What else, as a compliance attorney, what are you focusing your client's attention towards where you feel like 2025, this is going to be the focus for the FTC? And please reinstate that focus will not change because Trump is coming in. I've had too many people on social media consistently say, "Oh, we're okay now. Trump's coming. It's going to change all the regulatory. Doge is going to get rid. Doge is going to get rid of all of this because it's redundant, not necessary." And I've been having to go around and be like, guys, this is literally not going to be one of the things that gets impacted. But yeah, what else are you seeing as their key focus?
Let's address, we talked about that in another podcast, but I'll quickly reinforce.
Yep.
President Trump is not going to affect the regulatory nature of the FTC. He was president before, and they were active before. The main management team that's there has been there for a long time, and I don't foresee any future, the foreseeable future, that they're not going to be there. And even if the main associate directors leave the FTC, they have a ton of other individuals that have fallen in line and will follow the same patterns. So you need to make sure that you abide by these principles, because if you don't, it doesn't matter that President Trump's in office. I wish, but that's not a practical wish. It's a pipe dream. The government will there'll be subtle changes with them, like the FTC, the Congress's internal review of the FTC report that came out in the 1st of December, late part of November, that talked about how they believe that Commissioner Khan was using the FTC as to promote a political agenda for President Biden. That would change. I don't feel like President Trump's going to use the FTC as a sword against, potential companies. I think he will be much more laissez-faire. He'll, non-government intervention type stuff. But so there will be a change. There will be some subtle changes, but these things, the cases are going to be brought, and it's going to be on the same principles. Are you giving earnings claims? Do you have substantiation? Are you misleading people? Are you not allowing them to cancel their subscriptions? Do they know what they're paying for when they sign up? Are you not communicating with them once they purchase? Those are the type of things that the FTC is going to look at, and that doesn't change with the president. That's
What do you think about like this whole asset freezing type of stuff? They've been getting really aggressive on that the last few months. Do you think that could that change some of the culture about how they approach these things, or you don't think that's going to change either?
I think the only way that'll change is if somebody they sue has resources independent to them to be able to go and push it in the courts and see what the
Okay.
courts will do with it. Um, I hate it. I mean, I've told the commission that I hate it. I think it's the single worst thing that the government can do is come in a non-criminal matter and then sweep all of your assets, and then they win the case before they begin. Once the receiver takes over, they never look at it in the mind of the business. Even if the court says don't destroy the business, they always destroy the business.
Well,
And
it's not innocent till proven guilty. I mean, it's against literally the core mantra of justice in this world. But
well, we'll be
anyways,
honest. Our government isn't really like that. When you get arrested for a crime, you go to jail until you're proven innocent.
yeah,
Then they release you. They don't just release you while you're waiting trial.
yeah,
Uh,
that's true.
so
Yeah.
it,
Um,
anyway, but let's talk about some other things that have come out. So just on the 19th of December, the FTC has announced that they're going to hold a formal hearing this month, January 17th, talking about banning impersonation of individuals in advertisements. So you're seeing a lot of, AI and advertising voiceovers to make it sound like President Trump. or
Wait,
somebody
but
else.
can I impersonate myself at least? Because that would suck if they don't let me even do that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm in the middle of a project on that, so
Well, you impersonate yourself every day. So why would that? No, I'm sorry. No,
that's
no,
true.
no. This is more so of using somebody you don't have a relationship with,
Okay.
and alluding that they're endorsing your product or service,
Oh
either
yeah.
because of their voice or their image. So no, if it's you, right? No, if you're using like AI because you don't want to read an ad online, a script online, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I
But
mean
this
this should be illegal anyways. Like I shouldn't be allowed to create an AI version of a celebrity and pretend like it's endorsing me. That sounds like it falls under their false endorsements and false testimonial stuff that they already passed.
it 100% is. And so you want to make sure that there's something that's out there to protect it. Right now, there's no rule that's out there to really protect this. So you need to engage in something that has a rule with it, and this is where they're going with it. They're going to flesh it out. My guess is they'll have hearing this month, and by April of this year, you'll see a proposed rule, kind of like the click to cancel rule that came out in October. And they're still fighting a lot of things. Remember, I mean, there's an injunction on the non-compete provision that they found that they came out with their rule in April and said it's non-enforceable. That's going to come to fruition. That's going to go up through the circuit and possibly the Supreme Court this year. So we're going to find out about that.
Okay.
We're going to find out how this click to cancel comes into place. There's the new telemarketing sales rule requirements that are coming fully into place this year about the documents and how we have to retain who's calling who and the number they're calling from and the purpose of the call and the scripts and all of those requirements that the TSR didn't have before that were amended and come fully into place, started to last year and will be fully in place this year. So there are just a lot of different things that you've got to pay attention to because the commission is always trained to look at different issues and then promote different rules to address the issues that they're seeing over and over again. The click to cancel rule, that's something that I've seen for a long time that I thought actually I agree with the government on doing that. I think that is necessary. I think if you do it properly, it eliminates a lot of problems with companies saying, well, I didn't know they wanted to cancel.
Yeah.
They didn't go to the right place. But if you have it in one place and it has to be centralized, like I said, like in terms of conditions or a subscription page, then that's good.
So,
Yeah,
real quick, I want to go back to the sales call stuff. Just give everyone a quick synopsis. We did an entire episode about this already, but there are some rules in the TSR world, everybody. So now it's not saying falls short of saying you have to retain all the calls, but it does. There's certain data about the call. So if you're running a sales call or a sales call operation and you're talking to people, can you just have a quick list? What are the things now that a company has to keep on record?
yeah, this is an exclusive because I don't have all of it in front of me right now, but let me go through. There are some top things, right? So
Sure.
for at least 5 years, no, it's not 3 years, for 5 years, you need to collect and keep the following. Every time you offer a product, you need to have a description of that product, and you need to keep that on hand for 5 years. When you contact a client, you need to be able to identify what product you offered that client. Because if you change products from time to time, you've got to be able to identify what product you're offering that client. You need to keep and retain for the 5 years the phone number you called that client. You need to keep and retain the number you called for that client. You have to keep and retain the scripts that you used for those calls if you use scripts for the telemarketing stuff. So you need to make sure that you maintain that. Um, you have to maintain your business records around that call, meaning your client database on that. So a lot of clients, in order to meet this, they use some sort of phone software that does a lot of this. You can program into it. But here's the issue. Like we talk about document retention policies, right? And you have those in place. And those are fine as long as it doesn't overstep a rule that's been met or set by the government. Well, now we've got this rule and this amendment with the TSR, which is an act, it's part of the FTC Act. So in order to do this, we need to make sure that we adjust our document retention policy for that. So now the first question we get, what about the sales call, Greg? Does that mean, notice I didn't say you had to keep sales calls for 5 years. You need to keep information about that. So a lot of my clients will have in their phone recording system, they'll have something in place to be able to maintain that so that they can just put the parameters up and then it just grabs that information and stores it.
Yeah,
And so
got it.
if you haven't done so already, you need to do that, because that comes fully into effect in just a month or so. And it's already partially in fact. It went into effect in October of this year, or of
Got
last
it.
year. Last year. Last year.
Got it. All right. Man, lots to do. So it is. I
Yeah.
mean, these are big things. Like that the telephone one, like the, it's going to make everyone revisit the tech you're using and whether your tech is tracking that
Yeah.
or whether your systems have that or not, and the
Well,
scripts and stuff.
you
So
got to
like
make
it's
sure, again, on the 30th of December this week, FTC refers one of the cases it brought against a marketer on this advance firm, Dave Inc., which was a company that did cash advances for clients or for individuals, sued him for marketing practices. On the 30th, they referred it to the Department of Justice for criminal actions.
oh shit.
So
Yeah,
you
we
got to
talked
be
about that
careful.
too. Like
Yeah.
they're getting more and more active about that. We talked about the fact that there's potential jail time now for these types of things because once they're in there, if they see something that seems out of whack too much, they go to Big Brother. And
Where you see the most on this, Sonic, is where you have money that's wired between interstate lines. It's almost always a Department of Justice. So this is a cash advance company where they're getting loans for, advance for their paychecks, and they're wiring money across the United States. And as soon as they do that, and they can say that you misrepresented it, that's wire fraud, and that's
but
a
so
criminal action.
but I mean in a telesales operation, right? Like that's happening all the time. A customer is paying you for what you offered them on the phone and they're probably not in your state. So it's crossing
Well, they're
state. So
paying.
you're
Here's a little different, right? This company, you sign up for my service, and we're going to lend you an advance for your paycheck, right? So they're sending money to the client in expectation that they're going to have their loan sharks, of course, high interest
okay.
rates. They're going to get
So
paid back.
wire fraud isn't necessarily if a customer's paying you, it's more in relationship. What's the difference? I actually didn't know that. This is new for me.
It can be. I mean, it
Okay.
can be. I mean, you're saying. I mean, how many of our customers and the clients are listening pay with wires? Very few. Most
Yeah.
it's card transaction, right?
Okay. Got it.
So, but when you're sending things back and forth, then that's the issue. That's the issue. So in this case, I'm guessing, I have not read. Obviously, I haven't brought criminal charges, so I haven't read the case uh, from the Department of Justice yet. But I'm guessing it's going to have an element of wire fraud, and that's going to be that the client was wiring back and forth in money based upon that, and that's where, when you have transactions over interstate lines through banking accounts, wire transfers, and they say it's based on a fraudulent transaction, that's where they get it. So it absolutely could be in the industry itself, right? You're right. If somebody's selling thing and they're predominantly taking wire transfers for payments,
Yeah.
and yeah, they could still be wire fraud. If
Wow.
they're actually deceiving the clients and they're lying to them about it.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
What a great way to bring in 2025, everybody. Nice.
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year. What a great, yay.
Yeah. Yeah, boy.
I gotta tell you guys, I want to finish. Let's end on a positive note to everybody.
Yes.
I get calls all the time from people, and not all the time. Okay, let me not be a marketer. I get calls periodically from people that say like, Anik, does this actually work? Are you still able to sell stuff? And look, this book is the highest converting offer I've ever had. I mean it converts like 12% on paid traffic. It's insane. And there's other offers in the marketing world I'm currently doing that sell incredibly well and do so compliantly. I can't even teeter at the idea of doing something non-compliant because I'm out here preaching it to the world. People are just ready for the gotchas on me just because it's fun. I'm business partners with a freaking compliance attorney, right? Like I got to be squeakier clean than most, and I'm telling you, it works. Like it's fine. We're actually attracting a better class of customer than we ever were. I think the fact that you believe or someone believes compliant marketing doesn't work, it's just your own limiting belief. I promise you. So you'll just need to give us some time. But I will say this. Whatever you're used to whatever you need to do, it's completely different, okay? You could be a great athlete and be amazing at baseball. It doesn't mean you'll play basketball well, but if you're given enough time, you'll probably play it better than most other normal people because you're a great athlete. So what I'm trying to say here is you'll need a little time to learn how to do that, to learn how to market compliantly, and then once you dial it in like where I have, like it's just great. So please No, I'm doing great. I'm doing fine. I've never been more excited. As a matter of fact, I think I'm about to embark on the biggest journey and the biggest thing I've ever done. So in a weird way, I might be able to step back and say, gosh, I'm glad this whole thing happened, because gave me a reset. Now I'm doing bigger things. And I don't go to sleep at all anymore, ever at night, worried that I've done anything that day that's crossing a line, because I'm so far away from the line. And it's working. And it's not just me. I've spoken to, and I think you'd be okay with me talking about him, I've spoken to Taylor Welch, who's gone through some of his own issues, and he publicly talks about this. And he is out there doing great things as well, building up his company, probably loves his company even more now, and they're converting great. You got to take a different approach. Compliant marketing is just a little different than direct marketing. You got to take a little bit of a different approach. All right. By the way, also, we have dates. I can't announce them right now, but we do have dates set for Compliance Summit this year. I'll announce them as soon as Olga tells me I can announce them. We're just waiting for a venue and all that. But you got plenty of time to prepare. It'll be our first official Compliance Summit, but we did like a little beta one before, and it was awesome. So this year, hopefully, we all get to come together as a community and learn and continue to drive this effort and this mission of getting marketing to be ethical, compliant, and honest again. Greg, thank you for all you do. Hope you have a great, great January. To the rest of you, I am going to pre-film some episodes with Greg, because I will be in India for 2 weeks for a wedding with my 2-year-old and 1-year-old. So please, if you pray for me, because I'm scared shitless about this trip. Having said that, to everybody, if you want to be a giant, go compliant. And when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, and push it the heck back. See you on the next episode. Get the book, and see you inside Compliant Academy. Bye.